the reasons, because of my experience. There are very few people left anymore that have the years of experience building rifles that I do. And we've got people that have a business that build one particular rifle around one particular action. That's not what I do. I build a rifle around almost any rifle action that's proper, that's strong enough, that's feasible to build what you want. I build a rifle, with wood stocks, as I say, with fiberglass stocks, takedown rifles, long range rifles, bench rest rifles. I feel that my rifles are the most accurate rifles built by perhaps anybody in the country or around the world, because I've been doing this for pretty much my whole lifetime, 52 years. I'm 67 years old. I don't see myself slowing down, changing anything. And when you come to Randy's Custom Rifles to have a rifle built, that's what you're getting. You're getting that experience. We have a lot of people that build a rifle around the Remington 700 platform. That's fine. That's fine. But that's all they know. They don't know how to take perhaps a German military Mauser action, perhaps an Enfield action or a Springfield action, or some of our older Winchester actions, or anything of that sort, even where to start, even how to barrel them, even how they work. I can take most any of these actions and modify them to accept all sorts of different types of cartridges. So my conversion work is almost endless. And in that conversion work, I'm talking about properly feeding cartridges from a magazine to work properly and so forth. And, not only from that aspect, but to develop loads with my, 57 years of reloading experience. Reloading experience alone is irreplaceable. For somebody to go out here today and be able to have contact with anybody like I have, specifically with Les Bowman, because of the way that he was connected with people around the world, you get a rifle that is basically built around really the ideas and the processes that people developed, all these hundreds of people have developed over the years. It isn't like just all of a sudden saying, well, I'd like to stick a rifle together and sell a rifle in 2 or 3 calibers. That's not what we do here. I build and chamber rifles from everything from a 22 long rifle, 17 caliber rifles, virtually all chamberings that have any applicable situation for the components that we have available. That is rifle brass, bullets, and anything. I'll build anything from a 22 long rifle, a 17 caliber rifle, to a 50 BMG, everything in between. So this is what you get when you come to Randy's Custom Rifles. This is a full service rifle shop. This is not, just a generic shop here that builds a rifle around 2 or 3 calibers, around one stock, your choice of 2 scopes or something, and that's what you got. No, that's not what you get when you're coming here. You get the whole thing when you come to Randy's Custom Rifles, and my hands are on every rifle. I'm Randy's Custom Rifles. I do all the work. Nobody else does the work. I don't have to depend on anybody else other than my suppliers that I buy, match grade rifles, barrels from, or maybe a custom action or whatever. From there, I take it from there and I build everything. And I want every rifle that comes to a customer to be a package. In other words, I want that rifle in the caliber that they have desired. I want it to perform up to the task that they expect, and loads developed for that particular rifle. and they can take that. I like to sell my rifles with perhaps 100 rounds of ammunition. People that hand load, or they can have somebody hand load it for them. There are hand loading companies that'll take that loading information and load the ammunition for you. And that's what we like to do, because you could go to somebody and have them build a nice looking custom rifle, but you're at the mercy of going down to the local, sporting goods store that sells ammunition and buying a box of AUK 6s or 7mm mags, and it's a crapshoot whether it's going to shoot worth a darn. All my rifles shoot accurately. I look in most of the calibers up to 30 caliber. I look for a hunting rifle that'll shoot somewhere sub half minute of angle accuracy or better. A lot of them shoot half that. If I build a bench rest rifle, that's probably going to shoot under 1/10 of an inch size groups, a bench rest rifle. So this is what you get, and it's a situation where, let's say that you have a desire to shoot bench rest. Well, you can come to Randy's Custom Rifles and have your bench rest rifle built. Let's say that you have the ability and the desire to hunt internationally. You can come to me and have a takedown rifle built in a multi-barrel setup to hunt around the world. And for any situation that you've got, you don't have to go to one guy to get this done, one guy to get something else done. You get it all done right here. And maybe you've got an idea to shoot it at longer range. Maybe you're just a guy that just likes to punch targets, that doesn't even hunt. We can satisfy that need. And there are folks out here that have disabilities and so forth, and I can build a rifle for a lot of different needs for people that have disabilities, and I've done so, and the people have been very, very satisfied. I'm glad to work with both men and women, or the younger generation, children, to build a rifle. I built many rifles for a father orders a rifle for a son, or mother orders a rifle for their son or daughter, and satisfy those needs. And so that's what you get. Where if you go to a lot of shops, they can't satisfy it all. Your daughter wants to shoot a rifle. She's smaller stature. She's a younger person. She needs a different dimension stock. She needs a light, handy rifle, maybe in a smaller caliber. For the most part, you don't get that when you go to a lot of places that might happen to build what I described as just kind of the generic rifle. This is it. This is what you get. If you don't like it, so what? Get anything you want. You come to Randy's Custom Rifles. It's just it's just a fact of what we do, because everybody's needs are different. Over the years, the firearms aspect has changed. Rifle building's changed somewhat. Rifle building started out with metal and was all blued steel and wood and very pretty wood stocks, finely checkered wood stocks, and that's probably my most interest. But over the years, fiberglass stocks came into being, and so about 35 years ago I started building rifles with fiberglass stocks, and I built just literally hundreds of rifles with fiberglass stocks, and both hunting rifles, bench rest rifles, target rifles, long range rifles, and so forth. And I see all this to continue to do with fiberglass stocks and so forth. The wood stocks, they're never going to go out. There's a lot of people that just wouldn't own a fiberglass stocked rifle. I feel that those people have their reasons, and so I'm here to meet that need. They want a wood stocked rifle or a fiberglass stocked rifle. About 20 years ago, I had somebody come to me that had a need for a rifle that was broke down in two pieces. So I said, well, you want a takedown rifle? And I had had my hands on, over the years, various Rigby takedown rifles. And I paid close attention to how they were put together. It was very simple. And I knew that right from the start that I could build a better rifle than Rigby built, because everybody that built a rifle, people that build a rifle at Rigby, there's various hands on that project. It was my hands that were on this full project. So I could take the component parts and build a takedown rifle, right from scratch, and have control over every aspect of that rifle. So I built a takedown rifle for this client, and it was not very long. His neighbor was very close to Bill Ruger, and so he visited with Bill Ruger, and he showed Bill Ruger my takedown rifle. And Bill Ruger said it was a very sound design, and that it would, continue to work very well for many years. How I designed it is very simple, and so that's something that I found kind of a niche in, is building takedown rifles. And not everybody wants a takedown rifle, but a takedown rifle is extremely handy, because when you travel, globally, fly anywhere, it's very difficult to maneuver around an airport with a very long rifle case. This puts things in a case about half the length. You got two pieces, and one of those smaller cases can be put in a Cabela's larger size duffel bag, and declared at the airport. And when they see you do that, then everything's all cleared, and you can travel the world like that, hunting internationally with one of my takedown rifles, and be pretty free from thieves, because anybody that's traveled airports with firearms know that there's a lot of stealing that goes on. So this rifle's out of sight, out of mind. They're not going to run up and steal your Cabela's duffel bag. They're going to run up and steal a long, hard gun case, but they have no clue that this takedown rifle's in one of these. So it's kind of a niche in itself, because you can travel so easily, and you can have a single-barreled gun, two-barreled gun, three-barreled gun, and so you can go someplace and you can hunt varmint or smaller mid-sized game, or large game, or dangerous game, perhaps all with the same action and stock, just by simply changing the barrel to give you another caliber, and maybe changing scopes, which is the best way, because then you've got a scope zeroed to each rifle barrel. And these rifles shoot just as accurate as a one-piece conventional rifle, the way that I made them, because everything's machine true, and machined to less than a half of a thousandth of an inch in every aspect, so that everything repeats itself. So there's not a question of an inaccuracy situation. And of course everything has a wear aspect, but over the years, as something might wear here or there, it can be brought back to the shop, and I can fine tune that back to work just like it did when I built it. So and really, you don't have to take down a rifle very often. You go on a hunt time or two a year, wherever, and maybe leave your gun together, or you take your gun apart, when you travel. So it doesn't have to be taken apart or put back together, very often. You can telephone me, Randy Selby, Randy's Custom Rifles. You can email me at Randy's Custom Rifles, and I don't have a catalog per se. I've got a lot of rifles showing on my website. Some of the things that I do, I build, as I say, I build rifles for almost any aspect, and I prefer, because everybody that contacts me has a different need. Everybody wants a rifle for a different purpose and a different caliber, and so forth. So I'm very glad to visit with anybody that wants to order a rifle and satisfy whatever that need might happen to be. I also do a considerable amount of rebarreling rifles, fine-tuning rifles, and so forth. And so if you've got a rifle that needs rebarreled, I can take care of all that for you. And basically a one-on-one good conversation on the phone. I mean, it's fine to email me, but once you've emailed me and we got an idea what you want, we need to talk. We need to talk about what your real needs are and what I can really do for you, and how I can help you the best to suit your need, for whatever that need might happen to be within perhaps the budget that you have to be able to do a project like that. It varies to do with component parts. Sometimes it takes a little while to be able to get these in-house. Sometimes they're in stock, like, match grade rifle barrels. We use nothing but match grade rifle barrels in this shop to rebarrel a rifle or build a rifle. And there's some barrels that, we can pick up and have them here in a week. Some we have to wait months for. There's some you have to wait years for. So it all depends on what your want is and what those component parts to make up that complete rifle are. If they're in stock, I can move a project through, in a month and in a couple of months. If there's some of these things we have to wait on, it could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be a year and a half. It just all kind of depends. But the average wait at this point in time, is a couple of months to get a rifle project finished. And part of that time is we live in part of the country where we have weather changing systems. We have quite a bit of wind. I've got to have still days to be able to shoot a rifle and work up loads. So part of that time frame to get a rifle done, completed, is governed by, we might have a whole week of wind. Well, that's going to make the project a little longer. We might not have wind for a week. I might have plenty of opportunity, so that's going to be done quicker. And, wood stocked rifles, you can depend on stocks for a rifle built from a blank. You can consider 5, 6, 8 months, depending on where we're at in our workload. You can consider waiting that long for a wood stocked, checkered rifle, for what you want. Fiberglass stocked rifles, as we all know, various manufacturers make fiberglass stocks. We buy a fiberglass stock, we fit it to the barrel action bottom metal, make sure everything fits right, it's all properly bedded. This sort of a project goes together obviously much quicker than something where there's a lot of hand detail and time consuming effort into building that rifle to end up with something that's done that you can hunt with. And I suggest that people, that if they want to hunt, come fall, because hunting seasons start opening around September and so forth in some places of the country, clear on up into December. I suggest that kind of by the first of a year, that maybe you ought to start thinking about getting hold of me to build your rifle, so that you can use that rifle some before you go to the field to hunt. When it comes to you, it's going to be all ready, it's all done. It's a matter of you doing your part. And I don't encourage somebody you get it done this week and next week you go hunting. I think you ought to use your rifle for a little while before you go hunting with it. So that kind of gives you an idea how long it takes to get things done. And rebarrel projects, a lot of rebarrel projects are sometimes a couple of week turnaround situation, but that of course depends on the barrel choice, which could be yours, or maybe you leave it up to me. If you leave it up to me, I go to a barrel company that has a barrel, in stock, and I can order it in and have it in here, in a week, and I can have your rifle rebarreled in a couple of weeks. Or if you want a load workup done, it'd be maybe a couple of weeks longer than that. It gives you an idea of what you're looking at. And I always keep these smaller projects moving right on through because I've always got some of these larger projects in in the process of being built, and that naturally takes longer. And I don't want to hold up somebody that's got a simple rebarrel job. I run those right through as I can, so that the client gets fairly quick service and can be back shooting and enjoying his firearm. I know very few people that can do what I do. I'm one of the few people, I think, left in this country that do what I do, because of the point of time when I started building rifles and how things have changed over the years for people's needs and the various component parts. And yes, it's not only the gunsmithing end of things and building rifles that things are changing and somewhat dying out. We've got a handful of gunsmithing schools across the country. You can go and learn some of these things, but I can tell you, having been to a gunsmithing school, that you don't get out of that gunsmithing school what I got out of the gunsmithing school, because of what I went there with and left there with. So the average guy, he's pretty limited. He's pretty limited as to what he can do and what he can't do. And that perhaps has some application on why we don't see folks like myself so much anymore. Most of us are getting some age on us that are in the gun making world, and when we're gone, there's a few to replace us, but not many.